Podcast. So I'm here with my friend Hailey, and I've decided to do the series where I interview my friends because I think my friends are interesting and they're pretty knowledgeable in their own, not necessarily their field, but their own worldview. So that's why I wanted to do this, and then I also wanted to keep some kind of memory of this, and then maybe in the future we'll just like look back at this and then just
we probably will.
Yeah, we will. Yeah,
and then we'll be like, wow, completely different viewpoints. Like, what was I thinking back then?
We're just gonna cringe.
That's true.
We're gonna cringe so
We're
much.
gonna cringe.
Oh my gosh. Alright, so Hailey, do you want to introduce yourself? Like, tell us. Like if like let's say pretend that you were me, right?
Okay.
And I was gonna describe you.
Okay.
How do you think I would describe you? Like just like 3 things.
3 things? Okay. I love boba.
Mm-hmm.
I like fat animals. I like to step on fat animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the 3 things. I think that's my identity at this point.
I've heard identities more than that.
It's pretty
we're gonna
much
find out.
my identity at this point.
You might want to speak a little bit louder. Okay. Yeah. So this is a little bit of a mukbang. So earlier we were having some French fries with like kosher salt and ketchup, of course, and then strawberry banana smoothies, and then she got us boba. This is what?
Peach green tea. And then this is a rose milk tea with coffee jelly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then now we're having rice with salmon. But yeah. So can you like tell us how did we meet in your view? How did we meet?
Okay, I don't really remember the how I felt at the beginning when we first met. But I think mostly I was just like really shaken that like you followed me everywhere and like you were there with me.
You made me sound like a creep.
No, okay, no, not in a creepy way though. It's just like it was good company. I was just more shocked because no one does that. Like who would walk with like a complete, I thought like halfway you'd be like, okay, I gotta go, like gotta do something now, but like we just stuck around and then like we walked all the way to like UTC even, and we sat there, we had a conversation, and I'm like, no one does that, like everything is like through text like the first few times, and then you make like a meeting later and say like, oh, let's go hang out like to eat or something, but it was literally the first day and like you were walking me and trying to make conversation, and I was like, it wasn't creepy because you're not a creepy person. You don't give off like creepy vibes. Yeah, you don't like So I was just shook in a good way.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god. I was hoping that I was coming off creepy. Thank God I did not. I remember I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go like talk to her, hang out a little bit, because we both were taking Chinese together, and this was like 3 years ago. Oh my god, it's been 3 years. But yeah, I remember I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make a friend, and I do really badly over text, which is why I don't do that method. Like I'm a bad texter, not like I'm bad at responding quickly. I'm bad at just fucking responding. Oh, I should cuss. I'm just bad at responding. So that's why I did that. And
I feel like if you did what you did, or like give off the same vibe, like what you did in real life on text, I think I probably would have been really overwhelmed and I would be taken aback and I'd probably stop talking. Because like then I had the choice to like just leave, and just it would be awkward in class probably, but because it was in real life and it's not like I was with other people or anything, I think that made it okay.
My first impression while we were in the office, I was like, why is this girl in office hours when she can speak Chinese? Like, out of everyone in class, you were like one of the most fluent people there. Or at least you sound fluent.
And yeah, honestly, it was because, like at that point, it was 3rd year, and I thought like, oh, how I could get like a letter of rec from her. That was the main reason why I went to office hours. It's just to like go there and try to get a letter of rec. But then after meeting you, I was like, there's no point. It's whatever. Like, I just know there's no motivation for me to go anymore. And then I was like, I'll just give up. But I don't think.
Wait, how did BDB ruin that letter rec thing?
No, it didn't ruin. I think it was just like I just didn't have motivation to go to the office hours. I just went. There was the first office hour. You know,
Yeah, that was
so,
the
like,
first one. Yeah.
I wanted to start my year right, but then that didn't go that well. I went to one other office hour after that.
Whose office hours?
No, like went to Chinese.
Oh, to Chinese.
Yeah, I went one other time, and that was about it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like I've only gone there 3 times to office hours.
I thought you went every single time.
I didn't go every single time.
That
No.
was my impression.
No.
Okay.
No. No. Yeah, I mean I met Mia and like one other person in office hours. I don't remember. The other girl, Tiffany. She's like this first year also.
Mhm.
Yeah. And my Chinese got so much better after like Chinese 3. Because it was so bad in the beginning.
Your Chinese is better than mine.
It's not. My Chinese is not better than yours. Like I can read and write, sure, but like talking off the top of my head, I'm like conversational at most.
I can't even conversational. I really can't.
Okay.
I threw away everything.
She is a liar. I've heard her talk on the phone with her mom. She's had a conversation in Chinese. Don't let her fool you.
It's terrible.
Okay. So like between that first year where you met and then I guess now, how do you think you've changed? Like I'll tell you like how I think after, but
I mean, definitely more mature. Like our conversations. I don't know. I feel like we've been having like pretty much like the same kind of like insightful conversations since the start. But like I think our like viewpoints have changed. I mean, just like we're all at like different, like we like both graduated, like we're both working, we're all like moving on with our lives. You know, it's not like school anymore. Like we have different conversations. We meet like so many different people. We've like experienced so much within like 3 years. Like I think that's like what changed. Like the kind of conversations, like the kind of response we have and the kind of viewpoints that we have. Other than that, like I think like the conversation topics are like pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean like because we've been like outside of like here, we both have like insights as to the culture that is around here, that we're able to have a deeper discussion about it compared to most people, I think. And then also like I never really made it a point to have surface level conversation anyways. So, because conversation is something you should learn from, something where you should get new knowledge or different method of thought from someone. But sometimes a lot of the time, I guess, it apparently doesn't happen.
It never happens.
So like, what did you mean like maturity-wise? Do you just mean like we're growing up and it's different phases of life? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure like 10 years from now, you're gonna look back at this, you're like, wow, there was some immature thoughts and viewpoints, and like you should not have expected that. Like I don't know what you were thinking about.
Okay, can you give like an example of that?
No, I'm just like in general, like the way we look at life right now, like in the future, you're gonna look back and then you're gonna be like, what kind of viewpoint was that? That's so immature. Like why would you think that way? That's not how it works in the real life. You know, it's gonna be different and that kind of stuff. Like sometimes like you hang around campus and you listen to like first year's talk and you're like, wow, did I really talk and think like that back in first year? Like I must sound so stupid, That's probably gonna be us in like 10 years too. We're gonna look back and we're like, wow, we sound so stupid and just not knowledgeable.
At least we got smarter. At least we know that.
Yeah. It's just like a constant, like, you just keep growing and keep earning knowledge, the more you're out there, and then you look back and you're like, wow, that's dumb.
Oh my gosh. Young, dumb, but not void of consequence.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. What is usually do those consequences where you learn something anyways? Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, you win some, you lose most. Yeah. So like, when I met you during first year, super timid, super in your own little bubble, your own little world.
Yep.
You're so quiet too. You're like that stereotypical Asian girl. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where she's just like in her shell, right? And then over the years, you've gotten a lot more, not necessarily loud, but you have more presence when you step into the room, you know, right? And it's just been like 3 years. Isn't that crazy? And like in one way where you haven't changed, you're very observant of things, so you catch on to things like really quickly. That's what I noticed. Like I'll just follow your eyes when you're like looking at something or just people watching, and I'll see you catch something, and then your eyebrows will go up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never realized that. I feel like I just zoned off.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I feel bad about zoning off now.
I mean, but you're very sharp in that regard. Like when you have conversations with people, that's something you're very, very quick. Like that's similar to most women, where they're very social about things, but on top of that, you have a brain. So you hear something and then you read it really well. It's not like when you say it, it's not for shade, but it's real. So you're reading someone. And yeah, I think you're a lot more calm now. Like you're not as anxious. It doesn't feel like that anymore.
Was I anxious back then?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because then, okay, to be honest, when we had first met, I could feel the shock
Of what?
of
Like
me
someone
just yeah. Like I knew it, but I was just like, okay, let's go through it. Let's see what happens. And then now it's just like we're comfortable now. We talk about like different things. I mean, I think we have similar interests in that we're interested in people also and how they interact, which has always been something that we review, I think. Because we review it, and then from there we derive like some kind of idea of how a person should move. Or sometimes like I'll just throw something at you, and it's like I'm just trying to get your opinion on it. Yeah, happens a lot.
I don't know. I feel like at the beginning, like probably the shock came from like never having like it's been I don't even know like whether when I was like back in Singapore like my conversations were like that. But I remember when I first came here, I definitely thought that everyone was really boring, and all they talked about was like, oh yeah, you know, today in class like my professor did this. Like I don't care. Like why would I want to know what happened here? Like that was me like when I first came, and I just like was miserable because I was like, is this what people talk about? Because this is really boring. Like I want deep conversations, right? But I don't remember what they were like because I went the first like 3 years here with like just shallow conversations. I got used to it. I was just like, oh yeah, you know, today in class like we did this like really exciting thing, you know, and like I became like everyone. And then like when I met you, I was like, this is different. We're not talking about like, oh yeah, what's your major? Oh, what did you do today? You know, like kind of stuff. Like
I know.
Like you know, like small talk conversations. You know, so I think I was shaken, and like I completely forgot like what that was like. And so that's why I was like shocked, and I wasn't used to it. I was like, I don't know what to say now. What am I supposed to say? You know, like I don't have people asking me for my opinions. You know, that's not something that happens in like conversations. So I think that's why I was shocked. And then now it's like, you know, I'm used to it. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a rarity, so. Yeah, and then how did it feel getting kind of used to how superficial and how shallow everyone was?
I just went along with it.
You just went along with it?
Yeah, just because I was like, well, I want to fit in, so might as well, you know.
Do you still feel the same way?
I mean, like, I think that learning like this kind of like small talk conversation was good because like that's how you get around here anyways. Like you just have to make small talk and be nice to people and like be interested in what they're doing with their lives and like anything interesting today. Kind of like I think like conversations here are like very catered to like pleasing the other person. That's why there's no deep conversation because that's sensitive topics and that's like.
Oh, that's an interesting insight. So it's catering to the other person. Okay.
Yeah, because when you're like doing small talk, it's always like, how's your day? Like, oh, you you know, like it's always about like how they're feeling, like how
Right.
they're doing, like good things.
But how is your day doesn't really mean how is your day, right? Like in Singapore, it literally means that, but in the States, it's like, oh, hi.
Yeah, it's like a hi, but and then you know people are obligated to be like, I'm good, you know, and then they're obligated to say, how are you, you know, and then it's just like, oh, I'm good, and then it's kind of awkward for a moment, and you try to like continue stuff, but yeah, it's just I feel like small talk is just like to fill in like awkwardness, I guess. I don't know. I think that small talk is like a really good skill to have, because like it's just you can't like have deep conversations with like you're going for like an interview or something, or like you're at the you're the cashier, and then like now you're trying to like make conversation. I'm gonna ask them how's your family, you know, like I think small talk is good. I'm glad that like I kind of learned that and I was like comfortable with that. But like so that's why like when I talk to you it's like very refreshing. It's like wow, like I'm using my brain again. I'm using my brain again. I'm like, you know, trying to learn something and like all that.
So like at what point is there too much small conversation? Is there a point to where you kind of drop someone or you don't, or they just kind of cancel out of your mind for having too shallow a conversation? Or is there like always potential for it to get deeper?
No, I mean my impression of like how friendships like work, at least from what I've seen here, is that like you don't really hit like deep talks and like talking about like how you feel about like really feel about things. Other than relationship talk, like you don't really talk about like your family or like how your childhood was. You know, those are like extra sensitive topic that like you have to reach a friendship level of like I've known this person for 10 years, like their parents know me, like I'm so comfortable with them. Even then, like I don't think like a lot of people know about someone's like childhood like trauma, you know, like you don't talk about that kind of stuff. But like in Singapore, it's like first night you meet, how's your family like, what kind of childhood trauma did you go, like how did your family abuse you, you know, like it's it's like it's just like that, like you can be strangers and talk about that, but here it's just like so sensitive, you don't talk about it, and then so you just kind of get used to it, and then because of that, like most conversations in like a new friendships are about hobbies. It's like talking about like K-pop, talking about food, talking about like fashion, talking about music. It's about this kind of stuff, and then other than that, the only real feeling is like relationship talk.
Right.
And that's about it.
And I think that's just because like the hobby thing, I think a lot of people see themselves or see other people and themselves as human doings rather than human beings. Because in Singapore, it's like when you ask certain questions, how are you, what family do you come from, what kind of trauma do you have, right? That's more so asking how has the world and how has the people around you affected you as a being, right? But when you talk about hobbies and you talk about things that you quote unquote do, right? You're defining yourself by things that you do rather than things that you are. Because then when you ask yourself, when you ask someone, oh, how's your family like, or what do you like in your family? How do you fit into your family, right? There's a role that you play within your family as a son, as a daughter, as a sibling, right? As an older sibling, as a younger sibling. There's so many roles that you play, and those are roles that you are just born into, and that you have to play, right? Those aren't roles that you have taken by choice. Whereas human doings, it's like you are defined by what you do. Like over here, they ask you, oh, what's your major, right? And that's in essence who you are. You are your major, or you are your job. And I think that's also kind of why people take their quote unquote careers or their jobs in a kind of unhealthy mindset of, oh, I have to enjoy what I do. I have to love what I do. Otherwise, it's not worth anything. And I believe, honestly, that's so toxic because sometimes a job's just a job. I don't care what I do if you're going to be paying me 6 figures. Do I really care? No. Will I hate it? I won't hate it in my Ferrari. I won't hate it in my Ferrari. But yeah, I think that's why Americans tend to see people as human doings, because you're so independent from your family to the point to where sometimes a lot of people just end up being disconnected, And if you're not, if who you are, if you've lost that role, then what are you, right? You are the things that you do at that point. But yeah, there's just like a lot of things that happen when people say, "What do you do?" Usually.
But like going to your like question that I didn't answer, like I think like if it's completely small talk, like how's your day, like I probably drop them. Like unless like they go out their way to like text me like how's your day, I'm probably not gonna text them. But if they do it like every single day, then I would probably start feeling obligated to like how's your day too. But then like eventually it just like fizzle out if they stop replying. But that's why like we start talking. That's why like when you make friends, like you try to find hobbies and stuff. So that's like something else to talk about.
Yeah.
So that you don't end up dropping.
I mean, we barely text. Like with us, it's like we schedule a day, and then we just meet up on that day and we just talk.
Which I think, okay, see, like this is the thing I've been seeing a lot too, where like there are a lot of like memes or whatever things out there where people say like, oh, you know, like best friends, like they can like not talk to each other for like a couple of months, but like that's when you know like you guys are like best friends and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then like with like shallow kind of like friendships where you don't really talk about anything like about like your viewpoints or whatever, like I think after not talking a while, it's like you just kind of forget about them and you kind of like move on. Unless you don't meet anyone new, then yeah, you're gonna go back to the same people.
Yeah.
But like,
Because they don't really like imprint anything on you, right? Because at that point, they're not imprinting who they are, rather they're imprinting whatever that shared interest is. Because that's the problem with like a lot of, let's say guys, right? When you play video games with them, once that video game is canceled out of your lives, like you don't have anything to talk about. You haven't built up any memories, right? Which is why a lot of guys will go out there and do activities with each other, because activities are sentimental memories that you can kind of think about and reminisce, right? Or you can go do again, like go-kart rating, stuff like that. Yeah, but that's kind of like why I think our friendship is like pretty tight, just because we were talking about emotional stuff on the get-go. I remember that. That's what I remember.
Yep. Sure.
All right, so now that we've graduated from university, it's been like almost a year since we graduated.
I graduated like March, so it's been like a year.
Oh yeah, it has been a year. Yeah. How do you? What are some things that you've learned in university?
I can tell you educationally what I've learned. I don't know.
Education. I mean, like. Okay, let's just go educationally for now.
But that's boring. Like I can say like, oh yeah, I learned about bio. I learned about.
I mean, okay, I guess with regard to maybe how the world works, or maybe about yourself.
I don't know. I feel like I've just like kind of assimilated to how everyone else is here, because like that's how I learned to. I mean, when I first came here, I was just like miserable for like a whole month, because I was so scared that I would not have any friends, because like the first month I was here, like I was in a summer program and it was just like a bunch of like international students and like rich Americans who could afford going for this program, and then so like they were all like frat kind of people, frat sorority kind of people, and so like I just did not click. And then the international students were just like international, like they would stick to themselves, and so I was just like this in between, where I did not look like an international, but I also wasn't like sorority type, like drinking, like Americanized, that kind of like I can get lit, like I'm not, you know, I cannot get lit like everyone else kind of thing. And so like I was so scared that like, because I was so in between, that like I would not fit into anywhere. I also had this like, this is really bad to say, but like before coming here, like I just have an impression of like Americans are dumb, and so I think I carry on that kind of mindset like unconsciously. And so when I talk to friends like after my first year, I was like, oh, what was your first impression of me? They were like, you just kind of like, you were really scary because it just felt like you were looking down on us. And I didn't only then I realized like how much like unconsciously like that's been in my mind, but I think that went away. So I don't like think that like Americans are dumb, like I mean some are, but like, at least like surrounding me, people like around me, like I don't like have the mindset of like, oh you're dumb, like I look down on them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I definitely learned how to talk, cause yeah, like people in Asia we don't talk to each other. There's no such thing as small talk. Like you make eye contact, you smile at someone, that's creepy. Like don't do that.
Yeah.
So I learned how to be like nice. I learned how to like talk and like remember how you said like I was really timid at the beginning. That was before I became like the social chair for my club, and I think that's really what like opened me up and made me comfortable with like talking to like crowds and like talking to people and like you know trying to like socialize in general, you know, and like especially talking to like older people too.
Right.
So I think that one really helped like open me up to like learn how to like I guess socialize better or whatever, and then throughout that like I went for a job and stuff that also helped me, and then I honestly like after all like this like I just think like in general I've become like a better like talker. That's all.
I mean that's what you do here. You just learn how to sweet talk your way through everything.
Yeah, but I'm still not as good as like people like who just like so good at like convos. Like I don't know, like I'm still not good at like small talk and stuff. Like my maximum is how's your day? Good, okay, but what else? And then say good, and then you're like how are you? And then I'm like yeah I'm good. Like and then it just stops that.
Trust me.
I don't know like what else to say. Like I'm still kind of boring. Like I feel like I ask everyone like oh what school did you go to? Oh what major are you? You know like that's I feel like some people don't like to be asked about that. But I still ask about it anyways.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything else to talk about.
Because it's like, oh, well, honestly, like, what else are you gonna talk about? Like, you try to anchor yourself from there and then, like, move on to an actual topic.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Usually when I have a conversation, it's just like, I ask them, oh, how are you, blah, 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 get that small talk out of the way, and then I throw some kind of situation at them that makes them think a little bit. That's what I do to you also.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an interesting conversation because it's like I'm getting to know you through how you think.
That's true.
And that's how I like to get to know people, honestly.
I'm kind of curious, so like, cause you throw like these situational stuff at people, and it's something that people aren't used to. Like, was there a time where they just didn't take it well, and how was that?
Oh, okay. So I had this one, like I've thrown this situation out at a few people before, where for me personally, I'm very interested in incels. So I throw it out there at people and I see how they react. Because to me, it kind of signifies, can you separate a caricature from what a person is saying, right? And a lot of the time, what I find is a lot of people can't separate that because they hear incel and then they just laugh, right? Whereas when I do talk about incels, I talk about them in a very passionate type of way. I talk about them in an empathetic kind of way. I talk about it from more of like a forever alone standpoint, where does a person not deserve love, right? Does everyone deserve love? If everyone deserves love, right? Shouldn't you kind of help out incels, that type of thing? But a lot of people, when I talk about this kind of stuff, they just kind of laugh because a lot of the times it's just kind of like a joke. They don't take it seriously. It's not within like their realm. So for me, like this is also like an evaluation of people where can you think outside of the bubble that you live in? Because we all live in a bubble, and it's kind of your job to escape that bubble and travel around so that you yourself become the person that you were meant to be, right? And I don't think, and I go about the world in a way where knowledge truly is power to me, and I want to get to know everyone and how they think, why they think a certain way. I want to know different definitions of things, different modes of thought, so that I myself can navigate the world in a better and a more accurate way. and that's why I throw these scenarios at people. But the incel one is touchy for me personally because I'm very passionate about that type of thing.
My conversation is like, what kind of woman do you like? And that's how I judge people.
What kind of woman do you like?
That's how I judge
I
how
mean,
much of a friend I can be with them.
Yeah, I mean, like at the same time, you're judging how bad their taste buds are.
Yeah, but that's a personal opinion. Some people like things that I don't, and then I don't like them, and so I don't be friends with them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've clearly assimilated, right? You know, the same hobbies, the same taste. Well, what's the point of being friends?
That's true.
But I totally get it. It's like, why would you want to be friends with people who watch terrible anime?
That's true.
Like, I think everyone is a connoisseur of something, and they have their own little thing that they are a connoisseur of. For me, it's vacuums. For you, it's boba. Right? Totally different things. For me, I had to give up very, very early on the whole vacuum thing because I don't know anyone else in my real life that is into vacuums.
Really?
No, I don't.
I feel like the older you get, like you find more people who are like, oh, that's a cool vacuum. Like they can appreciate like how
They can appreciate appliances, but when I say I'm into vacuums, I am autistic about it. Like I want to know the volume of air that is sucked through in testing it versus the amount of air that is sucked through when you're actually testing it out with in-person usage. Because those are two different things when you're experimenting, you know, like in vitro versus in vivo. In vitro versus in vivo is two different things. So in vitro means that it's like, let's say you're taking it in a little petri dish, right, and it's secluded. There's a lot of control around it. But then in vivo means like in real life, right, in living. So you see how an organism reacts in an actual real life situation versus a controlled experiment. And that's how I am with vacuums. Like I need to know that information because I have hardwood floors, right? And the way vacuum works on a carpet is different versus hardwood floors, and you want a different type of brush roller too, depending on the type of flooring that you have, and you want different types of suction also, because you don't want something to always just be too strong in its suction. Sometimes you want it to be just light enough so that it doesn't ruin your carpet.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's the level of autism I mean when I say like I'm into vacuums. Yeah, I can appreciate aesthetic vacuum. Yeah. It's just that type of thing. Let's see. Okay, so if you could go back to your 18-year-old self, right, just fresh into university, and you wanted to quell your fears, your inhibitions, you wanted to quell your need for whatever, right? What would you tell yourself to set yourself up for something to look forward to, I guess?
I don't understand what you mean, like how set yourself up.
Yeah, like as in like how are you going to, what would you tell yourself to prepare yourself to meet, let's say, certain key people, or to meet or do certain things maybe earlier or later, or
okay. So like something I would change about like what I would do.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, definitely like put myself like out there, cause like I think I have this thing where like if let's say like I have to do it myself, like I wouldn't do it. Like if like going for like club meetings, like I would tell a friend like, you know, first week when you're like really excited about everything, you go to like multiple club meetings, and then after you just kind of like whatever about it. And so like first year, cause like, you know, like you're in a dorm, you're with people, you want to walk with them, and so like if my roommate didn't want to go, like I don't want to go either, which I regret a lot, because like if I actually went to like all those like missed meetings in the first year, like I probably would have been like, I don't know, like a board member earlier, or like know about like, oh, I have to get into research earlier, and that kind of stuff. And that's like the biggest thing, like I would tell myself like just go yourself. Like you don't need to go with people. Like don't care about like at the end of the day, like when you're lazy, you're just gonna sit there and do nothing. You're not gonna gain anything either. But it was just that like FOMO kind of thing, which I regret, like not being more involved in campus for sure. And then with emailing like professors about like research and stuff, like I'll be like, oh, like overthink about it, like how if they don't like me, how if they think like this, how do they think about that, like I don't know. And then like I end up just like and then I end up like just not doing it, like whatever, like I'll think about it next time, and it just never comes about. So like would tell myself like to just email, like what's the worst that can happen, you just say no, kind of thing. But I think I kind of like learned that in like third and fourth year, like later third year when I found a job and that kind of stuff. But that was probably just like out of pressure of like not having a future, And if I didn't have that pressure, I'd probably just laze around. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you had that pressure.
Yeah, I'm glad too, because I'm actually going somewhere right now and not just like working in a boba store.
Yeah. Oh, so can you like tell us where you're going?
Like where? So I'm going to the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. Completely different from here. Completely different from where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
Closer to family, and I'm just really excited going to Philadelphia. I'm not excited for the city life. It's a complete downgrade from where. No, honestly, I honestly wish that I came from the East Coast to here. Then it would be an upgrade.
Yeah.
But now I like see Irvine, like this Irvine compared to like Singapore, like it's great. It's like almost the same. Like I get the same vibes. Like it's clean. Like maybe not white roads, and like I can drive here. It's like even better. Like just the food is not like maybe as good. But like now I'm going to the East Coast where like it's dirty. It's just small crack roads. I pay for the highway.
Yeah.
And then it's just and then people there are like different. I'm just so scared of like how I have to learn to talk to people again, because I don't know whether it's the same or not.
It's a whole, the East Coast is a whole different beast.
Yeah, so then I have to redo all of that again, and I'm just like, I don't know how to talk to people, I don't know what they like to talk about, like how I'm boring to them, like how if people just don't like Californians and they're like, ew, you're from California, ew, don't be here, like.
I don't think they're not gonna see you that way though.
Yeah, okay, but they're gonna see my car license plate, and people on the road are gonna be like, ew, they're from California, trying to make their lives living hell. Like, they suck at driving. I'm pretty sure people judge each other based on like what car plate you have and where you come from.
I do.
Exactly, I do too, exactly. That's why I know people are gonna judge me, and I'm scared that like people are like more likely to rob my car now because I'm in California.
You better change your car.
I'm so triggered, like I'm so scared to like park on this side of the street. You're gonna be like, California license plate, a Honda Civic, like oh my time to steal and rob this car, probably have a lot of money, might as well rob them,
See,
kind of thing.
This is what happens when you live in like this, we're like the second safest city in the US. Oh my god.
It's amazing here, like sometimes I talk to people from like elsewhere and they're like, you don't lock your front door when you go out, like you can just leave your car there and leave your laptop in your car, like you don't need to put it in your trunk or anything. I'm like, no, like no one cares, like they're probably richer than you, they're not gonna steal.
Yeah, exactly. See, they're too rich to steal from you.
I know. They are too rich to steal from you. It's insane.
I went to Soju Valley with someone who lives in Irvine, and the funniest thing when I met him for the first time, he was like, "We hate poor people. We hate poor people," and we got free drinks from Soju Valley because we were just being like super drunk and shouting, "We hate poor people."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, no one kicked you guys out for saying that.
You're not gonna kick out the people who showed up with two Ferraris and who's buying a bunch of drinks. They gave us free drinks. They gave us service, so.
For buying a lot of drinks.
We're being wild. No. So, yeah, because there was like it's a we're living here. It's like a whole kind of culture on its own. Because like the average income here is like 90,000 too, which is higher than the median income. Or the median income for males in America is like 59,000 to 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that out recently, and I was like so shocked that the average income here is higher than that. Like, it's 30,000, but it's still 30,000 more.
I'm gonna miss here so much because it's such a big downgrade.
I mean, your fault for coming here. Such a bougie place.
I know, I should have went from like East Coast to like UCI or something.
I know. Honestly, I'm gonna be so sad too because once I leave here, everything else is the ghetto.
I know, exactly. Literally everywhere else is a ghetto. Like the Walmart here is already considered kind of ghetto, and you go to Walmart everywhere
Yeah.
else and it's like 10 times
No,
more ghetto.
there's no Walmart in Irvine.
There is, there's one. It's like right beside your house.
That's in Tustin, okay?
That's kind of in Irvine.
That's kind of in Irvine. It's not really Irvine. See, that's why there's no Walmart in Irvine. There's one nearby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, and it's like in the outskirts, in the ghetto. Tustin is the ghetto.
This is so sad. Like I have a friend who's like, well, I'm gonna be staying in the same apartment building as, and we have a Walmart like in walking distance from our apartment. And I was asking her like, oh yeah, like I heard there's a Walmart. She's like, oh yeah, the nickname for it is Hood Mart. And I was like, why is it really ghetto? And she was like, yeah, it's just ratchet. And then I was like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. I'm like, everything's already a downgrade. Like, I don't know.
Well, at least the cost of living is lower.
It is. It's not the lowest, but it's lower.
Lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't win everything.
I know. But I was like buying something on Amazon and I shipped it to Philadelphia and I was looking at the tax difference between like Irvine and it's like maybe $1 less, but I'm like, it's a decrease, but it's not that much.
Hey, those dollars add up.
I know,
okay.
it does. It does.
But unlike the rest of the U.S., when you spend your taxes in Irvine, it's all going to something good.
I don't even know what's going to. I just pay them.
Smooth roads, another park.
Okay, it's actually insane because like I feel like there's like nothing to like the roads here they're like completely fine and people just still do construction because where else can we use the money on? We just do more construction on things that are already good, you know.
Yeah, and it just gets better.
Yeah. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Everything's a downgrade, I'm really sad. No food anymore.
Oh gosh, you know what? The health services here are so good too, compared to the rest of the U.S.
Health services, like
Yeah, like your doctors, your dentists.
really?
Yeah.
I already think that's kind of shit here.
I mean like okay, I mean like yeah, comparatively to everywhere else, but like Irvine compared to like other places.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm glad I got my vaccine here. I'm kind of scared to get my vaccine there. People here are so nice.
People there are so nice.
No, people here are really nice. At least for
It's so
vaccine.
it's easy to be nice when everyone's rich.
That's true. Sometimes like I like go on TikTok and like you see these TikToks of like retail workers and they just talk about like how many shitty people they see in a day and I'm like, you know, like my boba store, like it's a high volume store and like I don't see any shitty people at all.
Yeah.
I think I've been working here for like 1 year and 1.5 years already and like I've not met like a single Karen or like someone who's been really upset that I told them like, oh, where's your mask, you know, like so I'm glad. So just like it's probably gonna be really different over there and like people are gonna be it's gonna be a different vibe. Like I don't know how I'm gonna talk to people.
You'll learn. You'll adapt quickly. I know you adapt quickly to things.
How if I come back with a different accent, you know?
I mean, like you sound more American after like living here for some.
Yeah, but like I've been watching so many videos about like how different states have different accents, and then now when I call like the housing people in like Philadelphia, I'm like, wow, you sound really different. This is so different. Like how if I come back to California and then like you tell me like, oh, you have a different accent now, and I'm like, that's I don't know.
I don't know. Do you want to sound like a Californian or do you want to sound like a Singaporean? Like
Oh, I cannot sound like a Singaporean. That's not possible.
no.
Because there's no unless I meet another like Singaporean who speaks like that, I'm not gonna switch to that.
Yeah. You mean Singlish?
Yeah, I can't switch
It's pretty neutral. It feels pretty.
We enunciate everything. Everything.
Yeah.
It gets really tiring.
I mean, yeah, it does. It really does. Okay. All right. So we're kind of towards the end of this. I wanted to know: is there anything that you want your future self to remember about this time period, as you're transitioning?
No.
You don't want to remember anything at all?
Oh, I mean memories I want to remember.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Everything that like I've gone through, like I want to remember. But if there's like any like
Okay.
like kind of
Give us like a big thing that you want to remember. That you want to tell your future self.
I don't know. I don't have any. Just go with the flow.
No, they're not gonna make you think about it. What do you want your future self to remember? Like a feeling, even.
I don't know. I can only say happiness. Like I don't know what else to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really. Like I don't know. There's nothing.
Okay. How about this? What is the most memorable memory from this period, from your undergrad life? Besides the pandemic.
Well, oh, okay. Becoming a social chair. I think that's the most memorable like thing because that's when I started to open myself up and expose myself and put myself out there, be more comfortable with people, be more comfortable with like talking and like that was the first time I like seriously like went for an interview and like put in an application and do like deadlines and that kind of stuff. And that was like the first like serious thing that I've been in. And since then it's been like jobs and then now like apply for grad school and stuff. So I mean, I guess like continue to try new things would be like something I would tell my future self. Like go out there and try stuff, apply to things.
Right. And alright, so I have some words for you before you leave off to your journey. I really appreciate my time with you at UCI. It was a fun time. It was nice being able to relate to someone on a international but not international level, and having like intellectual conversations. It's a rarity. It's a rarity. I appreciate it. It's so. I need that in my life, okay? I need it in my life. And like everyone from Irvine is like leaving or they've left already.
Yeah.
And like everyone's moving on in life and it's so crazy. And I'm so happy for you though that you're moving forward to Philadelphia, and I can't wait to meet back with you in like, let's say a year, I don't know, a few months, maybe a year, I don't know, maybe a few years, and see how much you've changed, even. And honestly, I think you're mature enough to do well over there. And I think you've learned a lot here, where once you go over there, I think you're a lot more prepared than what you think. Sincerely, I think you're a lot more prepared than what you think. And I do cherish our days of making videos together in Chinese. They were so funny though. They were so funny. I'll insert somewhere here maybe, but gosh.
That was terrible.
3 years and okay, terrible, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I really appreciate my time with you, and I don't know how else to articulate it that well. And I am so sad that you don't even know. I'm so sad. But I wish you the best of luck. I wish you fulfillment once you're there, and I hope everything works out. And I hope that when we look back and watch this one day, that we can sit back and just like laugh at it. I don't know.
About how dumb we are.
Yeah, I mean like we're in our mid-20s. Well, I'm in my mid-20s now. You're not yet, but yeah, later this year. It's okay. I mean, we're not 30 yet. We're not 30 yet. We have some time. But yeah. Thank you. Oh.
It's okay, you're gonna move on soon too. You're gonna move out Irvine, and then this is just gonna be part of your past.
I hope so. Oh my gosh, I need to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.